Hey guys, it's Becky with the good hair, and this is a little bit of an impromptu video. I just wanted to come on here and rant, so I don't really know how this is gonna go, but I am filming the day of the most recent mass shooting in America, and it was in a mall in Jacksonville, Florida, and as of right now, obviously, since it's the day of the shooting, not all the details are readily available, and there are at least 3 casualties at this point right now. And I am going to just rant, and if I cite any statistics or anything like that along the way, I'll just put links in the description down below. And I just wanted to say that I am so fed up with this. I'm so fed up with the gun violence in America. I can't even imagine what citizens of other countries are thinking about us right now. Looking at America like, what are you doing? This happens all the time. All the time. This epidemic of gun violence does not happen in other countries the way it does right here in America. It just doesn't happen. It's amazing to me that there are people who just do not care, honestly. And I'm going to be frank, if you're a gun owner, gun enthusiast, even so far as a gun nut, I don't know if that's a derogatory term, but I'm going to say it. If you're a gun nut, you're crazy about guns, and you value guns more than people, I don't know what to say to you anymore. I don't know what to say to those people who can look at this epidemic happening every single day in America, basically. Almost every day. These mass shootings happen all the time. All the time. There was a mass shooting last year in my hometown. I wasn't there for it, thank God. I was in New Jersey at the time, but there was a mass shooting right in my hometown. And it's just your average small town America. It happens everywhere. It happens big city, small town, malls, theaters, open fields, churches, elementary school, middle school, high school, college. It doesn't matter where you are, where you live in America. You're at risk of being a victim of a mass shooting. There are thousands of victims of gun violence, and that's encompassing mass shootings, homicides, suicides. That encompasses a lot of different things, obviously. But there are thousands of gun deaths per year in America, and they could be prevented with common sense gun regulation, gun legislation, and it's not being done, and we all know why. If you don't, you're not paying attention, and I feel sad for you. But if you honestly don't know and you honestly are wondering at this point, why isn't anything being done? What's going on? Why are there all these mass shootings and nothing is being done? Where is the government? Where are our politicians? Where is our president? Our presidents? Multiple presidents have been in office when this has been going on, and nothing has been done. Not a thing. Not a thing. Why is this happening, if you're honestly still wondering at this point? It's an association called the NRA, the National Rifle Association, and they donate thousands of dollars to politicians to tell them to not do a thing about this. And you want to know what happens when these mass shootings occur in this country? And they happen all the time, like I said. Gun purchases are going to skyrocket. So right now, as there are people dead in another mass shooting, gun purchases are going to go up again. in this country. And there are more guns in this country than the entire population. Isn't that insane that every single person, and maybe even their dog, could have a gun at this point in this country? In my opinion, that's too many guns, and it's ridiculous. I have almost no patience for just any gun owner, honestly, who wants to excuse, wants to diminish, wants to rationalize this issue we have in America. It's beyond insane. And nothing is being done about it. Politicians are going to give their hashtag thoughts and prayers and then move on. And then next week we'll talk about the next mass shooting and so on forever till the end of time. I don't know what it's going to take. And, obviously they have gun bans in places of government. So it hasn't happened on the Senate floor that there's been a mass shooting. So the politicians are completely unaffected by it, basically, and they don't care. They take the NRA money and they're like, oh well. And Democrats sometimes do try to fight, but they don't fight hard enough. When the Republicans refuse to budge, the Democrats are like, okay, well, we tried, I guess. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. And the idea that gun nuts have, and yes, this idea that I'm about to tell you, this is something that gun nuts like to think, to try to sound just completely ignorant and try to diminish any conversation and end any conversation about guns and gun regulation. So they try to say that the Second Amendment means that, everybody can own a gun, and that any form of regulation is against the Second Amendment. And they also try to say that people like me are trying to take away all the guns. And that statement, that argument they have, all of it is all incorrect and completely disingenuous, because according to the Second Amendment, it's open to interpretation and it's open to regulation. We can regulate guns because it does say a well-regulated militia. So that means we can regulate our gun laws. We can regulate the guns we have. And also when the Second Amendment was written, I'm sure that they didn't imagine the invention of bump stocks, for instance. And then also, I'm not trying to take away all your guns because, like I said, there are enough guns in this country for every person in America. So therefore, it would be virtually impossible to take all the guns away. You honestly think that I want to take away 300 million guns and that I expect there to be the resources and the amount of people to go to door and ask everyone and make sure that they all, give their guns away? And I'm just going to find some place to stockpile all these guns, and who knows? What do they think we're going to do with 300 million guns we're supposed to collect from all the gun owners? It's virtually impossible. It's a complete myth, and it's a conspiracy theory at this point that you honestly think that people like me are trying to take the guns. It's impossible, and you're just a gun nut if you really, truly, wholeheartedly believe that I want to take 300 million guns away from people. Oh, dude. Sorry about that. My light just went out. Anyway, it's a conspiracy theory at this point if you honestly think that I and other more progressive liberal people are trying to take guns away. It's completely illogical. I live in Wisconsin, and if you know anything about Wisconsin, people here seem to love guns. They just love guns. And I grew up here for the most part. I moved here when I was 3, and I don't at all come from a family of gun owners, hunters, none of that stuff. That was just completely foreign to me, and I didn't understand that at all. And I was honestly kind of baffled and confused and thought it was a little weird that people had guns in their houses and that people would go and shoot and kill animals. I mean, I was a little confused and weirded out by that. So it's always been a very foreign concept to me, and I've just never really understood it, been into it or anything. Like, you know, it's just not my thing. But I still am capable of understanding that just because I don't like guns, I don't understand them, I don't understand the fascination with them, to me, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean I want to take that right away from someone else. I do understand that the Second Amendment exists, and so therefore I'm going to allow people to do what they want, have guns if they want. However, I believe that the state of this country with guns has gotten out of control. Regulation is a thing. Background checks are a thing. Buyback systems are a thing. It is ridiculous that this is still going on. We need to be in the streets fighting for the politicians to do something. We need to march for our lives every single day of the week, because this happens every day, basically. It's insane. It's outrageous. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And it's scary, honestly. It's scary because you don't know when it's going to happen next, where it's going to happen next. I mean, it's already come to my town, mass shootings. I mean, there are more shootings here than I ever remember in my lifetime. Just a couple days ago, I remember hearing about a shooting on a street I'm very familiar with. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying to realize that it could happen to me. I could be a victim of a mass shooting. I could be a victim of gun violence. Just, you know, a drive-by, anything. Anybody could be a victim of it. And that's horrifying. It's horrifying that this is happening in our country. And it happens so frequently, you don't know if it's going to happen to you. You don't know if it's going to happen to your friend, family members. It's insane. It's scary. It's scary. And it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter. And people like to cite Chicago as an example of, oh, you know, gun regulation doesn't work because, you know, they have all these regulations and they have more gun violence than anything. Okay, honey, if you know anything about geography, do you know where Chicago is? Chicago is in the Midwest. Do you know what states it's surrounded by? It's surrounded by Indiana. It's surrounded by Wisconsin. The guns are coming from other states and they are brought into the state of Illinois and to the city of Chicago illegally. Borders don't mean that there's this protective dome around the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago. So guns are flooding into Chicago illegally from other states that have more lax gun laws. That's why people like me are advocating for nationwide gun regulation. Because if gun regulation varies from state to state, then the guns are going to flood into other states because of states that have lax gun laws. That's how it works, because there's no nationwide system for gun regulation, background checks, and all of that stuff to make sure as a whole nationwide that everybody's on the same page and everybody is regulating guns the same way. So since every state is different, that's why this happens. Because the guns are flooding into states, you know, illegally, and that's what happens. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Oh yeah, that's right though. I know. Because people are fighting for guns more than human lives. At this point, it really has reached a state where, honestly, if you're defending guns right now instead of human lives and you're gonna comment down below and say, but what about this? But we can't do that. But blah, 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 blah. You don't value human lives as much as you value guns. That's it. If you're gonna argue with me on this video, that's it. You don't value human lives as much as you value guns. I don't care what you have to say. There is no argument about why we can't fix it. No argument whatsoever, because no matter what gun regulations I want, they're not going to take away your right to own a gun. They're not going to take away the Second Amendment. They're not going to ban suddenly 300 million guns from this country. We're not going to go door to door taking your guns away. So nothing that I'm advocating for is going to take your guns away from you if you're a law-abiding citizen and mentally and emotionally healthy and stable and someone who is responsible enough to own a gun. So there's no argument that you can put in the comments for me that's gonna show, oh, you know, you still are a decent human being. If you're going to argue about how we need to fix this, and you're gonna argue against that, and you're gonna say, no, this is fine, you don't value human lives, period. You just don't value human life. You value guns more than humans, and that's it. Honestly, with the GOP and maybe even some Democrats who aren't fighting hard enough, they don't value human life either. They don't care. They've got their donations from their NRA lobbyists, and so nothing else matters to them. It's all about money. All about money. Money makes the world go around for them. So it's atrocious and it's horrifying that there are people like that exist in this country and they're running our government. So that's terrifying to realize that there are people who honestly value money more than human life, and there are also people who value guns more than they value human life. So that's a really scary place to be in right now as a country. So I'm scared for America, to be honest, and I don't know what it's going to take for things to change because we've had the March for Our Lives, and how many shootings have happened since then? I mean, it's ridiculous. This is insane, and nothing is being done. And I am sick of politicians giving lip service to this and then not doing anything. Not fighting on the Senate floor every day for something to change. So, where are you at? Where are you at, Cory Booker? Kamala Harris? You guys gonna do anything? Are you gonna actually fight? Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, I know does talk about this, but hello, wake up. You need to be talking about this every single day and just, wiping the floor with these stupid Republicans who are taking thousands of dollars. I don't know what it's gonna take, but if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments because I literally am at a loss and I don't know what to do. And I'm super angry about it because I don't want to die by gun violence. I don't want you guys to die by gun violence. I just want this to stop. And I'm just like Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality. I just really do want world peace. So I think that's it. I honestly don't know what else to tell you. If you like this rant, thanks. I'm super angry. Sorry about it. But if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and also make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to put out videos on a weekly basis. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and also click the bell. That way you're notified when I drop new videos for you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.